Today we're back in the garage with the ZRX1100. I'm trying to fix a rattle or a buzz, I've called it in the past, that kind of shows up at about 4,000 RPM. 2 weeks ago I went for about a 100-mile ride and spent a lot of time at 4,000 RPM in fifth gear, and this had this buzz rattle in the background that kind of got irritating.
Right there, 3,800, 3,900 RPM. Hear that rattle or buzz? Right there, right there. Yeah, it just hits a buzz, and then, you know, if I hang right at 30, 38, 39, it'll continue to buzz. But if I go over 4 or below, that's 4,100, 4,200. $38, $3,900 buzz comes back. Right there.
Most of the riding I do around town over the past 3 years, it's been there since I got the bike 3 years ago. It doesn't really bother me, just, you know, comes for a second or two, you know, when I'm shifting through gears. But I decided to troubleshoot it. So as we all do, first thing I did after my ride 2 weeks ago, did a little googly moogly and found a forum, might have been Australia, some kind of ZRX forum, and a guy talked about he had the same problem. He described it just like mine, 4,000 RPM. His was like 3,950 to 4,100 or something like that. Getting this buzz, I thought, oh, that sounds like my problem. So he described what he did, and I did the same thing right away. And I'll show you what I did, but that wasn't my problem. Buzz at 3,950 to 4,000 RPM. And he found the problem to be the clutch hydraulic line changes from flexible from the bars to a rigid pipe to the engine just underneath the thermostat mount. The rigid line just behind the hose clamp fitting was rubbing against the lower edge of the thermostat mount, even producing a small sharp edge in the mount metal. So he solved his by getting rid of this rubbing point. So I just pulled my tank off. If anybody wants to see how to pull your tank off, you can look up my video on how to change coolant. So the clutch hydraulic line is this line right here, coming from the clutch. It's rubber right here. So this is the thermostat bracket right here, and this is the clutch hydraulic line. So on the other side of that, it's metal. So that's my clutch hydraulic line where it transitions from rubber to the metal, and then this metal piece here is actually touching this bracket. So this is the other side of the bracket. So if I tap it around, so if I just tap it, you can hear it tapping on that bracket. Alright, so I'm going to try wrapping a piece of vinyl tube. I'm going to split this vinyl tube down the side and wrap it around that hose where it goes through the thermostat clamp. All right, so I got the vinyl hose on. You can see it right here. So I just butted the vinyl up against this metal transition piece, and then back here I just left it long. So right here, there's a zip tie on this hydraulic line. It looks like it's from the factory. There's a zip tie to the frame, and it's not. It's loose in here. It's not like it was pulled. It wasn't pulled tight against. You know, this wasn't pulling it tight against this bracket, and I don't really want it tight because I think it's no matter what, there's going to be vibration, and there's going to be some fretting going on there, and I don't want to, you know, eventually rub through the steel line that's inside there. So yeah, I'm going to test this like it is. I'm a little skeptical, but there was definitely some metal contact under there. Doesn't make sense that it would only show up as a loud vibration at 4,000 RPM. So today, I think I've found the problem just tapping around on the fairing, and I found something loose. So after I did the fix that this fellow described on the forum, involved taking the gas tank off, and there's a hydraulic line, the clutch hydraulic line, where it has a metal fitting on it, touches the thermostat bracket, and that was his problem. So I took the tank off and put a piece of vinyl tubing around the metal portion of the hydraulic line that touches the bracket, and went out for a test ride, and the buzz was still there. So came back from the test ride and started tapping around on the bike. And you may ask, you know, why haven't you done that in the past? And I have done that in the past. You know, just started tapping around on the dash, and this time I do hear this rattle. Either it's gotten loose. I've done this, you know, before many times in the past 3 years. You know, tapping on the dash, and I actually have a shop towel shoved down underneath my instrument panel. These are plastic, and they rattle around when you hit a bump. So this rag down here, this blue shop towel, actually really takes a lot of the rattle out of this when you go over bumps. And I put a piece of rubber shim in here between the dash and the frame, and you know, just trying to stiffen everything up. And I've got this nice and stiff, and I don't know whether because I've stiffened that up, the rattle now, you know, kind of is more noticeable when I tap around. So I think that's my problem. So today I'm gonna dig in there and find out what that rattle is. So it appears there's this bracket on the frame of the front bikini fairing, and I'm sure if I took this fairing off, it'd be a lot easier to figure out. But I've had it off a couple times, and it's a pain in the neck. These bushings that screw into here are pretty well worn out, and I just don't want to mess with taking it off. But anyhow, it appears that the rattle's coming from there's a bracket here with a spring in it. I guess it's meant to. It looks like it's some kind of design so it doesn't rattle, but depending on where that spring is positioned, the rattle is more pronounced. So the spring is just kind of moving around in here. So I'm gonna maybe take it out, put a washer under it. I'm not sure. It's, you know, I don't want to go cranking on it and crack the fairing or crack the frame. It looks like it's set right with the spring tension. Looks like it's right, but yeah, I'm going to mess around with that, see if I can. You know, right there, it's not bad. So I guess that explains why it was kind of hard to troubleshoot. So here's what came out of there. It's a bolt with a spring, and then on the back of the
bracket that's coming off the fairing frame bracket. There's a plastic, that square nut that goes on the back of this, and then that spring goes in here, and then the screw goes through that whole thing. So that's pretty cheap. Again, there's a little plastic nut and then the spring. So yeah, without out, no more rattle. So, but I guess I want to have that secure there. So I'm gonna get a nylock nut to put on the back of that. I think I might have one around. Okay, here's what I decided to go with in here. I've got two 16th inch nylon washers, so the spring there won't be any metal contact with the spring. And then this is the plastic nut that is kind of just loose on here. So I'm assuming that's just backing out, and then I'm going to put this is a 5mm nylock nut. I'm gonna lock it in with a nylock nut. So that should do it. So let me put that in there and see how it looks. So I got the screw and the first washer in and the spring stuffed in there. Now I'm gonna have to lift up on the spring and slide the second washer underneath here. So it's pretty tight in there. Be nicer to have smaller hands or a third hand. All right, here's what we ended up with. The screw is just way too long, and that plastic nut on the back of that, I just took it out. So I put a 3/8 inch nylon bushing on top of that, on top of the bracket. The nut, I think, is what was banging around, because even with this spring compressed, this nut was just tapping around on there. So I got the 16th inch thick washer underneath the spring. Then the spring's touching the underside of that bracket, and then I got a 3/8 inch nylon washer on top. And then on the bottom is the 5mm nylock nut that should keep that all in place. That's not going to back off. So that's it. No more vibration. So next step, I'll take it for a test ride, but yeah, I don't know what they were trying to accomplish here. Just a nylon bushing or sleeve or something in there would have worked better. The spring isn't. I guess it's just keeping. I guess the intention of the spring was just to keep that nut under tension, that plastic nut that was on the back of that under tension, so it wouldn't back off. But yeah, we just did away with this plastic nut. So there's a square. So there's a channel underneath there. So I guess when you on the assembly line, they just shoved it in that square. Then they could run the nut in, and it would keep this square nut from spinning. But it also left this nut loose, rattling around. So all right, so we'll do a test ride and see how that. Well, praise the Lord, I got rid of my rattle. This is the test ride. RPM, 4,000 RPM, no rattle. always listening to every little sound on your bike or car. And you know, the first thing you think in your head, oh, it's a valve, it's a cam chain. I was pretty convinced that it was coming from the body somewhere. And I just kind of monitored it. And really, it's been 3 years that I've been listening to this, and only till I went on 100-mile ride where I was listening to it for 20 minutes straight, and I go back in. Like I said earlier, I tried the radiator cover, took it off, thought it was banging around. Yeah, no rattle. 39, 4,000. I tried with the, making sure all the side covers were secure. It was 39, 41, 4. Yeah, it's gone. It's that stupid screw right here. Hold on a piece of the bearing. And then I also tried that hydraulic line fix. So I guess the lesson learned is, if you got a buzz, it seems like if you got something loose on this bike, it's going to manifest itself at 4,000 RPM. Other example I found with this, the guy in the forum had the exact same problem, a buzz it, same RPM. There must be something going on. 39, 4,000 RPM. Maybe that's maximum vibration. Like, I don't know. So if there's anything loose, it's gonna be worse at right around that engine rev. That's the only thing I can figure, but I'm just saying that's all mine. It was a dumb design. I don't know what that screw and spring. They should have put a shoulder bolt in there. Would have been a much better idea. So right in this corner here, coming out of this corner, I used to get the buzz all the time, pretty pronounced. So this would be a good test right here. Yeah, beautiful. Nothing. There's 30, 39, 4,000. All right, we're good. All right, we're good to go. So next one, peace out.